Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth. It's Rod with Powell Group, your home for MJ Stocks, crypto assets, and interviews. Going to get started with today's live stream here momentarily. We'll give it another 30 seconds or so for people to join us. But I see we have some people joining. Welcome to the live stream, and we'll get started here momentarily. All right, I see we have quite a few people joining the stream. Welcome, welcome. Going to get started. It is Wednesday, June 14th. Hope you're well. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing HEXO Corp's Q3 2023 earnings. So we'll review that, and then we'll get into a discussion. Before we get to that, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe. Tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. It's been an interesting day. I just did a video as well on Tilray and the transaction being approved. But let's dive right in. Everybody in the comments, let me know your thoughts and opinions on these earnings if you had time to review them. If not, that's no big deal. That's kind of why I'm doing the stream here today. I didn't actually review it in detail either. It just came out there not too long ago, and I was in the gym when they came out. So we'll go through it here sort of together here. But like I said, let me know your comments in the live chat, and then we'll get to that at the end. And we'll have any questions or any kind of discussions that anybody wants to have. But before we get to it, getting close to that 500,000 views on the channel. So very appreciative and grateful of each and every one of you. I really do appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. A lot of people ask me why my channel does grow a little bit slowly compared to other channels. And I think that's because I speak the truth and I cover MJ stocks primarily. And obviously, pretty much every single MJ stock is down 80 to 90% in the last couple of years. So not super popular at the moment. But I did just post a video on HEXO shareholders approving the merger with Tilray Brands and that acquisition arrangement. So if you haven't seen that, you can check that out. It was an overwhelming majority in favor of. So that looks like we just need the court order now, which I believe was June 19th. And then we should see the deal close at the end of this month on June 30th. So if you're wondering when your HEXO shares, there's arbitrage opportunity as well. You can check out my video that I just did on that. And then in this video, I give an update on the arbitrage, but it is dwindling as we got that news today that it was approved by shareholders. So as I mentioned, HEXO reports Q3 2023 financial results. We're going to dive into this here in just a moment. But again, shareholders approved it. So today there was 93.7% of all votes casted were in favor of. And as a reminder, there's going to be a conference call tomorrow, Thursday, June 15th at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So you'll be able to tune into that. There's the conference call details. So we'll jump into this. If you haven't seen the information yet, again, we'll go through it here. And I've kind of skimmed it. They did miss in terms of estimates in both revenue and EPS. And there were some impairments there and a pretty big loss. But we'll get to that here in just a moment. So if you haven't seen it yet, you can go to CDAR. And then you see here MD&A, management discussion and analysis. And then there's also the interim financial statements and then the news release. And actually, Business Wire just put it out. So here it is, HEXO Corp's Q3 2023 financial results. So we'll go through this a little bit quicker today. In the third quarter, we entered into a definitive agreement whereby Tilray will acquire all the outstanding shares of HEXO, said President Charlie Bowman, who I've interviewed as well as the CFO, Julian Ivanitz. So if you haven't seen that, you can check that out. But essentially, they continue to expect the transaction will be completed by June 30th, 2023. So everything's on pace to being finalized there. And as I mentioned in the other video from yesterday, it was about a 10.6% arbitrage opportunity. And then today it dropped down to about 8%. And then after this results here today, I mentioned in this previous video today, the HEXO shareholder approval, I mentioned that if it was bad earnings, we could potentially see that drop to about 5% below discount, meaning that if you sold HEXO shares now and then bought Tilray, you'd get about a 5% or 8% discount, meaning you get that many more shares, as opposed to just waiting until it auto converts. So again, the closer we get to that date, the closer we get to June 30th, or even the 19th, we get a court approval, then the arbitrage is going to go down even more. And then by the closer we get to June 30th, then it'll go down again, right? So the closer we get, the less discount. I actually sold some of my HEXO shares that I had, I think it was probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago now, and I actually got close to a 22% discount, meaning that I got 22% more Tilray shares selling than just waiting. But again, there was some risk. We didn't know if the shareholder was going to approve it. We pretty much knew, though, that it was going to go through. You just can never be sure with financial markets. HEXO recorded $21.6 million in net revenues in the third quarter, representing an 11% decline from the second quarter, noted Julius Ivanitz, the CFO. Our G&A expenses, excluding Health Canada MJ fees, improved by 2.6 million compared to the second quarter, while our selling, marketing, and promotion expenses were largely flat for the quarter over quarter. We recognize an adjusted EBITDA loss of 3.9 million compared to a loss of 2.4 million in the second quarter. So here's the financial results. Actually, before we jump into that, I did want to highlight on the chart here. So there's no more investing.com isn't covering anymore. So that was another reason why I was more confident that the deal was going to go through, because we don't even have analysts giving updates anymore on the revenue forecasts and EPS, earnings per share. But as you can see here on TradingView, this is on the TSX, they report Canadian dollars. So the estimate was 25.232 million, came in at 21.625. So we did miss on that front. And the EPS is incorrect here. I'm not sure why. It's pretty much incorrect all the time when it first comes out on TradingView, but that's actually incorrect. I'll bring it up here in a second. But it was actually worse than that. So earnings per share, but we'll jump into that here in just a moment. So they did miss in terms of EPS and estimates, or EPS and revenue estimates. But again, I'm not too concerned because we're pretty much guaranteed at this point that the deal is going to go through anyway, and our Hexo shares will convert into Tilray shares if you haven't already sold. But again, I would never tell you to buy, sell, or hold, because this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only, and I can only give you the facts and what percentage arbitrage and discount there are and what I'm doing in this situation, right? So I'm just like each and every one of you. I'm a retail investor who's been obviously investing in the space and down big on my investments. I'm very transparent. But again, that's the key word, investing. Usually you invest when prices are at rock bottom and no one cares, and then you wait, right? The hard part is the wait part. But people confuse trading with investing, and people don't really have realistic expectations going into it. So here are the significant financial results. As I mentioned, I already mentioned that. So we'll move on here. Excluding Health Canada, I already mentioned that. The company made payments of cash and non-cash consideration to Tilray Brands with fair market value of 26.3 million to obtain a waiver agreement. When taken as percentage of net sales during the 9 months ended April 30th, 2023, the company's general administrative, selling, marketing, and promotion of research and development costs improved by 13% compared to the same period fiscal 2022. The company's only material cash generating unit, CGU, was impaired by 73.7 million. So again, there was some impairments there. We'll take a look at that in detail in a moment, which contributed to the net loss. The company's loss from operations improved to 12.3 million, or 9% relative to Q3 2022. So from that perspective, it wasn't actually that bad. Operating cash flows it's the impairments that hit them, but we'll get to that in a minute. Operating cash flows in the 3 and 9 months ended April 30th, 2023, significantly improved by 9.6 million and 77.9 million relative to the 3 and 9 months ended April 30th, 2022, respectively. The company recognized an adjusted EBITDA loss of 3.9 million, which I already mentioned. So we'll go through this here. So as you can see, total net revenues, 21.585 million. And then if we scroll down here, we'll get to the loss. Scrolling. Actually, it's probably easier to find it on the next page. Yeah. So we'll go to this one here. So we'll go to the condensed interim financial statements. So you go down here. Total net loss and comprehensive loss, 115.345 million. So $115 million loss, and EPS was negative 2.63. So again, I don't know why they reported negative 0.21. Like, it's always pretty much incorrect on TradingView, but they got the revenue correct. That's pretty easy to do, but not sure how they messed that up. But yeah, it was negative 2.63 EPS. So big hit there. Like I said in my video, shareholder video, that it was probably going to be a telltale moment, because we were really going to have great financials and we would get another discount opportunity to sell some of our Hexo shares, for those that missed that arbitrage and discount opportunity. Or on the flip side, I said if it's bad, then we might continue to drop to that 5% below discount and arbitrage opportunity. And with these results, I would say we're going to be dropping down close to about 5%, if not below. And then I even mentioned in this video here that I didn't see the point of having Hexo right now compared to Tilray, because I think Tilray is going to see more upside from a share price perspective relative to Hexo. It's going to be stronger because of the fact that we're getting close to that deal completion, and that arbitrage will continue to dwindle, right? Why does that happen? It's because the more sure we are of the deal going through, people are like, okay, I'll just lock in and get 10% more Tilray shares, versus if I wait now, I know what I'm going to get, right? I'm going to get that 0.4352 shares. So you already know what your Tilray shares are going to be if the deal goes through and it auto converts, versus if you sold your Hexo shares now and there's a 10% discount, you're going to get 10% more Tilray shares, right? And I did it when it was around 22%, but I'm still holding a very, very small amount of Hexo shares. I'd say probably about 15%. I did sell a little bit into the end of the day there. So I got, I think, around 8-9% discount. So meaning I got 8 to 9% more shares of Tilray versus waiting. But then I've got, like I said, about maybe 10-15% of my original Hexo shares holding on to just in case. So yeah, $115 million loss and negative 2.63 EPS. So missed in terms of revenue and earnings per share. Go down to cash and cash equivalents. So 20 million. And shout out to Power Group, member, you know who you are, but essentially they're having they have $20 million in cash, which is a condition on the note. So that was a good eye there. But other than that, it pretty much sums everything up. This is the interim financial statements. If we go to the management discussion and analysis of the MD&A, there were some things that I noticed that were different on here. But pretty much they pretty much just copy and paste the same thing, and then they add a little tidbit to it. But obviously adding the Tilray information in there, shareholders voted in favor of and for the arrangement. Trust Beverage Co., they continue to state 35% of total sales in number one market share for Q3 2023. What else? They continue to assess the business plan and strategy and exploring options regarding the future of its investment in trusts. They talked about some facilities as well. The Fort Collins transferred ownership of the facility to Tilray as contemplated by original waiver and amendment agreement. So company transferred ownership of Fort Collins in Colorado to Tilray. So that was some information that popped out. They mentioned it here as well under Hexo USA. Share consolidation, so they talk about the 14-for-1 reverse split. And it just goes into the numbers here. Once again, international sales, net revenues. Yeah, not really much to be held there. So scrolling down here. And again, let me know what you think of these. If anybody's reviewed this, let me know your thoughts and opinions, or if there's anything I didn't mention you want to discuss, let me know as well. See, we have quite a few people checking in on the live stream still, so and we have some comments, so we'll get to that here in a moment. So just remain patient, please. Excise taxes. So they're applicable to adult use and medical sales. Excise taxes, blah, blah, blah. Excise taxes in Q3 2023 as a percentage of gross sales has remained flat quarter over quarter and has increased 5% from Q3 2022 as a result of the sales mix and excise tax applicable revenues relative to total net sales in each period. There's something else I wanted to mention as well. Oh yeah, the impairments. So a company's adult use beverage sales possess a gross margin nil upon entering into the transfer agreement between Hexo and Trust. Beginning November 1st, 2022, Trust LP has operationalized its MJ selling license. As a result, the company no longer recognizes. So that's why we're not seeing those CIBs on there, MJ infused beverages, CIB. So the reason why we're not seeing that on there is because it's going on. They have Trust has their own license, and then it gets also we don't have a majority stake, which is why, right? Molson Coors has the majority stake in that one. But let's go through here. So we have the impairment, restructuring costs. They go over that. Impairment of property, plant, and equipment. So for the 9 months, let's just see here. We'll go through this a little bit. So yeah, the CGU impairment was then prorated and weighted average basis for the company's property, plant, equipment, and intangible assets, which totaled $54.9 million and $18.7 million respectively. So there you go. That's a big chunk there. For the 9 months ended April 30th, 2023, impairments of plant, property, and equipment significantly lower when compared to the 9 months ended April 30th prior year in 2022. In the prior year period, impairment losses were $207 million, were recognized as a result of significant revisions to forecasted future cash flows by the company's new management team and ceasing operations at Belleville. Impairment of intangible assets. So during the 3 months ended April 30th, 2023, the company recognized intangible asset impairment loss of $18.775 million. Okay, let's go through here. company forecasts and estimates by the company's new management team that result in an impairment of the company's acquired and capitalized brands. The license is attributed to acquired cultivation facilities and the production know-how asset totaling $140.8 million. Impairment of goodwill. Go on to mention the CGU again, and goodwill arising from the acquisitions of Zenabis, Redecan, and 48 North. The company has not generated additional goodwill since Q2 2022, and as such, no impairment losses have been recognized in fiscal year 2023. So just going through here. Trust USA, acquisition. That's pretty much it. So we'll jump into the chat here. But as you can see, 2.63 negative EPS, 21.585 million revenue. Got about 20 million in cash on hand. And yeah, they get hit by some impairments there. So that's why we're seeing some pretty abysmal earnings per share there. But again, we're pretty much at the end of the line here, where we're pretty much guaranteed that, you know, we're going to become Tilray shareholders. And we're only down about 2.69% after hours. So not terrible, but we'll see. It's going to be an interesting day tomorrow. Like I said, we're probably going to see that discount, that arbitrage drop from about 8% down to 5% or below. And again, it'll just continue to lower and lower and lower. As we get too close to the actual conversion date, it'll basically just be a 1-for-1, right? There won't be any discount or arbitrage. Arbitrage, so you're just taking advantage of that discrepancy in price, right? And I've showed that multiple times, but yeah, Hexo only down a little less than 3% here after hours. So jumping into the chat here. So again, still quite a bit of people on the live stream. So thanks again for your contributions. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this. And again, if you review this, let me know if there's anything that I didn't mention that you want to discuss. Can you do a review on High Tide? Yeah, I just posted it in the Power Group private community, and Aurora reported an $87 million loss. Aims for positive free cash flow soon in the next year or so. And then yeah, High Tide earnings came out as well, and it was flat for Q1 at 118.1 million. So yeah, I'll try to get a video out on an update on High Tide. I was going to do one on Aurora as well, but all these kind of come out, and I, with Hexo and Tilray becoming the number one, it's essentially Tilray, Afria, Hexo, Redecan, Zenabis, 48 North. Like, it's a conglomerate in the space, right? So a lot of my following and viewers want an update on that, especially since it's going to be probably the biggest MJ company for years to come. But yeah, an absolute powerhouse. But I'll try to get a video out soon on High Tide. High Tide's definitely my biggest retail holding. So I got, like 15 different MJ stocks. I got producers in the US, got producers here in Canada. I got retailers in the US, retailers here in Canada, MJ ETFs in Canada and the US. So I'm diversified, but not only that, outside of the MJ space as well, right? I have real estate, mutual funds, other stocks and crypto, right? So it pays to be diversified, and seeing no shortage of haters lately with regards to Hexo and things like that. And, it's just funny, it's comical, and one guy on Reddit was like, oh man, like, I can't believe you have to deal with this. I feel so bad for you. Like, if I was in your shoes, I don't know if I'd be able to deal with all the negativity online. And to be honest, it's like, doesn't even faze me. Like, I'm so mentally strong and tough that these trolls, like, how can you not understand that it's not a Hexo problem? Like, Tilray's down 99% from February 21 highs. Hexo's down almost 99%. Hexo's down 99+% from February 2021 highs. CGC's down like 96%. Truly, the poster child for the longest time in the space, is down over 92% from February 2021 highs. So, like, what are you talking about? Like, and Tilray's buying Hexo, so our shares, like, it could have been worse. Could have went bankrupt, right? Could have been like all these other, like, Fire and Flower is going insolvent. So yeah, like, it could always be worse. And just like, when I was buying cryptocurrency in 2019, telling people, when Bitcoin was at $3,000, it's probably going to go up from here. And it kept going down, right? I said at 5,000 I was going to be buying. It went all the way down to 3. I looked like an idiot, right? And then it went to $70,000. I was telling people to buy Tesla when it was at like $200 and below before all the stock splits. And then, I was buying it at $250, $200. People, still didn't. Oh, the media says they'll never be profitable. They sell less cars in a month than in a year than Toyota sells in a month, and there's no way they'll be bigger than Toyota. And then Tesla went to like, thousands of dollars per share, right? So again, when you're investing, you always seem like an idiot because the prices are at rock bottom, prices are at all-time lows, because that's where I invest, is at all-time lows, right? When people don't care about it. But just like crypto, just like real estate, in all these markets in the East Coast, now everything's blown up like crazy. Doing the same thing here in the condo market in Edmonton. I buy low. Everybody thinks I'm crazy buying low in the condo market, right? There's a meme the other day, friends don't let friends buy condos, right? Clearly they're from Alberta, but that's when I want to buy, right? When nobody wants to buy it, I swoop in and I look like an idiot for the longest time, and then it comes back and reaps rewards, right? Who the hell wants to buy when something feels good about an investment? That's generally too late. It's like I was telling my girlfriend the other day, she wants to buy a new car. And I'm like, well, I understand you want to sell your car high and then buy another car, but you're selling high and buying high. I gave her the opportunity in the suggestion, maybe sell the car for cash and wait, maybe lease a vehicle for a year or two, or maybe buy a little bit of a crappy vehicle, I guess, for lack of a better word, and then just wait for like another year or two, and then once we enter this full-blown recession, maybe even depression, once the interest rates keep going up, people have foreclosures on banks and houses and things like that, it's going to happen. I did a video on the Bank of Canada saying that mortgage payments could spike as much as 40% over the next couple of years by most 5-year fixed mortgages renewing by 2026. Mortgage payments could spark I would say maybe more than 40%. So people aren't going to have money for used cars. So right now the used car market is like at an all-time high, if not it's close to, if not the highest. I might do another video on that. But why would you want to buy a used car when it's at the peak, right? So again, just like stocks, just like real estate, who wants to buy at a peak, right? Everybody for some reason, but no one likes discounts. But again, just like Tesla, just like crypto, just like real estate, I looked like an idiot for the longest time, and I think that the same thing's going to happen with MJ, right? So you just got to be patient. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Hello. How do you think Hexo's earnings would affect Tilray's share price? So I think, again, I mentioned that earlier, probably already answered your question, but I think because of the fact that the earnings were bad, we're probably going to see that discount. Hexo will drop more comparative to Tilray's share price. So we should see Hexo down, by another, like today it was down 12% and Tilray was only down 4 or 5%. So again, that's why that arbitrage went from, in this video that I posted yesterday, it was at 10.6, and because Hexo was down 12% today and Tilray is only down about 4 or 5%, that dropped to about 8% discount on arbitrage opportunity. And I expect tomorrow that we might be down 5-10% on Tilray, on Hexo, and then Tilray won't be down nearly as much, and then that discount will probably drop to about 5% and below. So basically now people have missed the opportunity to sell and get more Tilray shares, right? Because like I said, the more assurance we are, the more reassurance and the more confident we are of the deal going through, that discount drops, right? So it is what it is, right? So that's kind of the benefit of paying attention and not just burying your head in the sand either, right? But yeah, I expect Tilray share price to outperform Hexo's comparatively. But great question. Good morning. It's morning where you're from? It must be on the other side of the world. It's evening here. What time is it? It's almost 5 o'clock p.m. But yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. You just answered my question. Thank you. There you go. Perfect. Free MJ dividend possible in free MJ dividend possible in. I'm not sure I understand. How much Tilray stocks will Hexo stock owners get if the deal goes through? 0.4352. So if you hold, it's just a simple equation, right? So let's say you hold 10,000, or for simplicity's sake, if you have 1,000 Hexo shares, or if you have 10,000, whatever, do the math, then you just times it by 0.4352. So you'll be getting 435.2 Tilray shares, a little less than half, right? So you're getting 435. So if you have 25,000 Hexo shares, then you just times it by 0.4352, and you're getting around 10,880. So again, like back when the discount was around 22%, and then it was just yesterday it was at 10.6%. So meaning you would get 10.6% more shares of Tilray than if you just waited until it auto converts. It sounds complicated, but it's not. Like all you'd have to do is say, okay, what is my Hexo shares were. So if I have 10,000 Hexo shares yesterday and I sell them into USD or Canadian, and then you could do the math very easily, and you can say, okay, how much? Now that I have that USD or that CAD, how many? If I buy Tilray right away, how many shares of Tilray would I have? And you'd end up with 10.6% more Tilray shares yesterday than if you just waited and did that conversion of the conversion of the 0.4352. This is the equation that I had for the EPS. So you just take the net loss divided by the amount of shares, and it gives you a negative 2.63, which is what they stated in the consolidation or in the financial statements. But yeah, it sounds complicated, and it kind of is for the first time learning about it, but it's really not. It's just you get 10.6%, and then today it went down to 8%, meaning that you get 8% more Tilray shares selling Hexo for Tilray versus waiting until it auto converts, right? Hopefully that makes sense. I voted for yesterday and was grateful that they counted my vote. Absolutely. Yeah, I was in favor of as well. I bought all Hexo Tilray a month ago at a great rate. All props have to go to Rod. Oh, thank you very much. Well, like I said, even people in the community were helping me out, right? There was, people, again, I get busy too. And then there's, some people in the POW group community who are like, hey, there's a 23% discount right now. And I think at one point there was like a 24% discount. So you can get that 22% and 20%, 10%. And it'll get lower and lower. Tomorrow it'll probably be down around 5%, if not lower, meaning you basically end up with nothing more. There's basically no difference than just waiting until it auto converts, right? But glad you were able to take advantage of that discount. And again, the court still needs to approve it on June 19th, but pretty much as confident as I can be in saying that it's going to go through. But congratulations on getting that discount and more Tilray shares. Could you please go over the Tilray chart? Yeah, we can take a quick peek at that. So down about 4% today. So it is a daily bear flag. I did a video on this a while ago. So Tilray bear flag 124 USD is the target, question mark. And why did I put a question mark there? Because I don't know. It's just what the charts are saying. I don't hate the messenger, hate the message. I'm just telling you that the charts are saying anything under 201 on this daily bounce was a bear flag. And I said in order to negate it, we needed to get over 201. If we get over 201, then negate it, crisis averted. But I said to confirm the bear flag, we needed to lose 163 USD on the NASDAQ. Where did we hit? We hit 156. So we confirmed the daily bear flag. So we could still technically drop another 20% from current levels and hit that daily bear flag target. And again, a bear flag is just a bearish continuation pattern in technical analysis. You just move it out to the 0.32 fib, and then there you go. You get your target of 124. So still targeting 124, and anything under 183 here was just a lower high, and we're still in a daily downtrend, and we're closing near the low of the day. So again, Q support is going to be the new all-time low there at 156. We lose that again, could still see another 20% of downside from there. But yeah, getting out of daily oversold territory, and I mentioned weekly oversold could be an area to target as a potential bottom. And if we got to that 124 area and daily bear flag target, that would put us around the weekly oversold territory. And we've only ever been this oversold a couple of times before in history. So we are dropping to a new all-time low in terms of share price, but we haven't been at the all-time low in terms of RSI. Look at RSI, it was down around 25 on the weekly time frame, and currently RSI is only at 32.67. So yeah, we could still drop in terms of the RSI, we could still drop another 20% as well, right? So watch for weekly oversold to be a potential bottom marking opportunity there around 124. Other than that, yeah, there's not much to see here. Well below the 10-week moving average. We're still bearish on the stochastic and the MACD. The only glimmer of hope is that we get the Safe Banking Act voted on here in the next couple weeks, which they said 2 or 3 weeks, about a week ago. So we could see that lift up the market. Again, the U.S. operators are going to see more upside, in my opinion, because they're going to get it's going to potentially allow them to uplist to the NYSE and the NASDAQ and then get funding. They're not going to be operating as a cash business. You'll be able to use credit cards and things like that in the U.S., but it's not really going to benefit the LPs here in Canada. It will because of the hype, and the share price should lift. But like I said, it's going to be better for the MSOs, the operators in the U.S. But we're still well below all the daily moving averages as well, all the weekly moving averages. And we're at least a few months away before we see a golden cross, which happened back here. Price was at, let me just uninspect this here. So prices when the Golden Cross happened last time in December 2020, price was at around $7. Then we went to 67. Then we had the Death Cross when the price was around 13, 14 bucks. And then we dropped to a new all-time low around $1.60, right? So now we're seeing a potential Golden Cross again, just like back here. But this time we're way beaten down. So if we're this much more beaten down, we're probably going to see a bigger move in my opinion. Longer the base, the higher in space, the greater the accumulation, the greater the expansion, right? And I can't see Tilray going anywhere. I think Tilray will be here in 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, 100 years from now. And I think they'll be probably top 3, if not top 5 in the global MJ space. You got to think about this now. It's now Tilray, Aphria, Hexo, Redecan, 48 North, Zenobus. Like, it's pretty much half the space in one company, right? We were told that the consolidation would occur, and it's probably not over yet. I did a video speculating that Tilray could potentially acquire VFF, and they talked about getting into fruits and vegetables and things like that as a stopgap to getting through to U.S. federal legalization and rescheduling, possible descheduling, right? So, yeah, we're many months away. Even on the Tilray chart, we haven't even really done anything on the monthly, right? We're dropping to a monthly lower low. So to be confident that we're out of this bear market, well, again, watch for weekly oversold to potentially be a bottom marker and that daily bear flag of 124. But then we need to start the monthly bounce, form a higher low and a higher high. So we're at least 3 or 4 months away before doing that. But again, safe banking here in the next couple of months. MJ Act being reviewed here in Canada. It's in a consultation period right now, so we might see some update on that with regards to packaging, labeling, taxation, all that good stuff. Probably somewhere around the fall, I would think. That again, that seasonality effect for MJ is usually around the fall. We could see some attention from elections and things like that, individual states legalizing or going recreational, and then in 2024 we could see that the U.S. Political candidates, presidential candidates, use it as a way to prop up their voters, right, and to get more voters. Just standing behind MJ legalization, that could happen. And I've been speculating that we're not going to enter a bull market in the MJ industry until alt season and crypto enters a bear market. And I still stand behind that thesis here today. But yeah, we're multiple months away before we can get lifted out of this. But we could even see legalization of medical in the US here before the end of the year, sometime into the fall. But again, as I mentioned, I think it's going to be one of these main things. MJ Act review here in Canada, and easing and more favorable regulations and laws, hopefully by taxation, 280E in the U.S. taxation, safe banking, uplisting in the NYSE and the NASDAQ, legalization of medical, and full-blown federal legalization. That's going to be the catalyst that we'll be looking out for, and it could even be a string of them together, right? So hopefully that helps. Jim Lucy on the Tilray chart. So do you think Hexo is going bankrupt? Are we still on that? I thought we were over that a long time ago. I'm surprised that people are still thinking that. So if you go to my channel and type in Hexo bankrupt, I said trouble ahead, Hexo Corp going bankrupt. This 2.3K views 1 year ago. And I said some options to consider before bankruptcy in my perspective. So I basically said, no, I don't think Hexo's going bankrupt. They could get bought out. They could get, I gave out like 8 different reasons of what could happen before they go bankrupt. And one thing I didn't even mention was a partnership or a merger with Tilray. And I think I might have mentioned it actually, but I didn't think it was going to happen. But I'm okay to be wrong with that, right? But it's better. Again, Hexo shares are going to convert into Tilray shares. Again, we're waiting for the court order and approval on June 19th, but essentially at this point, it's pretty much a done deal. So at this point, our Hexo shares are going to convert into Tilray shares, as I've been mentioning in this stream, right? So no, Hexo won't go bankrupt because it's gonna become Tilray's property, right? So could they do similar to like they did to Zenobus, where they file for creditor protection? Maybe, but they're gonna keep, they want to keep the assets, right? So I can't see that happening. What I think is going to happen is we're just going to convert, Hexo shares are going to convert into Tilray shares, so you can pretty much remove bankruptcy from your vocabulary, or insolvent, like Creditor Protection Act. It won't matter, right? Because at this point, our Hexo shares are going to turn into Tilray shares, and then we'll be Tilray shareholders, right? Like we kind of expected over the last year or so, whenever Tilray stepped in and acquired the convertible debt, right? So yeah, like you can just remove bankruptcy from your vocabulary at this point because it's not relevant, because your Hexo shares are going to convert into Tilray. So the better question would be, is Tilray going to go bankrupt? Because that actually makes sense. Hexo, it doesn't make sense to say Hexo is going to go bankrupt at this point because your shares are going to convert into Tilray, right? So it won't even matter. Remember, I'm the guy who ran into Irwin and told him I bought more. Then a few days later, it came to the news, and he and 3 other management bought in over $1 million more. Okay, cool. I didn't remember that, but good to know. No, of course it wasn't me, but what okay. But what a cool coincidence. I'm a conspiracy theorist. No shame in it, eh, Borth? I'm a conspiracy theorist. I seriously believe the MJ downturn is deliberate to scare retail investors away. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's the same. This is what they do. This is what markets are designed to do, right? Same, like if they did it to Amazon, if they crashed Amazon 95% in 2001 from all-time highs and they weren't selling illegal drugs, do you not think they're doing the same thing here? And then Apple almost went bankrupt in 1997 if it wasn't for Microsoft giving them $150 million. And $150 million back in 1997 was no small amount of money to brush off, right? That's a big fat chunk of cash back in 1997. So if Apple was selling legitimate products and computers that weren't federally illegal and illegal drugs in the U.S., well, it's probably going to be more manipulated in the U.S. in the MJ industry, right? Because the U.S. still hasn't even legalized it federally. So yeah, it's not even a conspiracy. It's true. Like it's happened time and time again. Like look at NKLA, and look at some of the EVs, the electrical vehicle names. They're down. They look like an MJ stock, right? Like look at. Let's take a look at some of those. Like let's take a look at NKLA, Nikola. It looks like an MJ stock chart. Just absolutely destroyed from all-time highs, down over 99%. And then what other electric vehicles? One, there's Lucid from its all-time high. Another MJ looking chart down over 90%, right? So it doesn't matter if it's electric vehicles, crypto, tech stocks, banking stocks. Well, maybe a little bit less with the banks because banks are the one manipulating it, but it happens all the time. Happens in every new sector, and it'll happen again. And I say to the haters and the trolls, so there's no shortage of them lately, you better get used to it because you can troll me, you can say all the nasty things you want, really don't care. You can leave sour comments, you can tell me I'm an idiot, you can tell me you hate me and you wish I was dead and all this stuff that people have been saying. I don't care. You will never, ever get under my skin because I'm stronger than you mentally, and I'm not a terrible person. And it's not my fault you're an asshole. So I realize that there's assholes out there, and I realize that my mental capacity will always remain stronger than their assholishness. And yeah, I really don't care. I'll be making videos. You better get used to it. I'll be making videos. I'll be on your screen until the day I die. So, and I expect to live pretty long. So you better get used to it. I'll be here for the next bull market. I'll be making videos saying, hooray, we're going to all-time highs. And then I'll be the one saying, I'll be here again when MJ crashes another 90%, because it's gonna, right? There's gonna be times where MJ's gonna go up, thousands of percent, and then we're gonna go down another 90%. So again, if you're on the stream, if you're listening to my voice right now, do you think this is the last time MJ's gonna enter a bear market and we're gonna see like these crazy low prices? No. So the next time, make sure to take profits and have realistic expectations, right? Take profit levels. Are you investing? Are you trading? Are you here for a month, 2 months, 2 years? Are you here on a time thing, right? Are you retiring in 5 years? How many years left on this earth do you have? Is there a catalyst that you're waiting for? Are you holding until full-blown federal legalization? Are you waiting for new all-time highs? Like, these are things you need to enter and get clear on before you enter, right? So yeah, don't let this be a lesson. This won't be the last time that markets drop. Netflix dropped 80% in 6 months from the peak there about a year or some ago, right? So if Netflix can drop 80% in 6 months, I can guarantee you MJ is going to drop another 80% again from a new all-time high or from a 52-week high. So again, I'll be here making content. I'll be on your screen for the rest of my life. So if you're a hater, you're seeing this video, congratulations. You got nowhere. You only motivated me to keep going even more. So love everyone. Don't care if you're a hater. Really don't care. Makes no difference to me. I've already made my decision, and I'm here to support this industry through the thick and the thin. I don't care if we're down 99% from all-time highs. This is when people need the support more than ever, and logic and common sense. And these people who are just trolling and going on with this nonsense and making death's wish and many CEOs of Tilray, not Tilray actually, but not to name any names. It wasn't Tilray, just so everybody's aware. But there's CEOs of MJ companies that I've heard that have received multiple death threats. So, what is wrong with people? you deserve to, like, everything that's coming to you. If you don't believe in karma, you soon will. Because if you're doing that for, like, what do you think Amazon investors were doing when they dropped 95% in 2001, right? Like, were they issuing death threats to Amazon CEO back then, or Jeff Bezos? You know, like, stop being a terrible person. Like, geez, it's not that hard. Like, wow. Anyways, off on a bit of a tangent there. But what do you think of shares of HYFM? Honestly, I'm not familiar. We'll have to save that for another video, though, maybe on the next live stream where I do like a ticker requests. But we're getting close to an hour, so I want to wrap it up. But I'll hopefully get that for you, Christian, on the next live stream. When MJ blows up, we got to take a vacation, boss. Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually hoping MJ stays low for a while until crypto and altcoins that I have go ballistic. And I think that could happen into the end of the year. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, MJ stays low, and then I can rotate those profits into more beaten down MJ, and then start to take profits in crypto. I'll have my long-term no-touch bag as well in crypto, just like I do in MJ, like a short-term account, right, and a longer-term account. But yeah, hopefully MJ stocks stay lower to take advantage of that. What is your price you see Tilray in 5 to 10 years? Hard to say. It all depends what happens, right? Do they federally legalize safe banking, uplisting the NYSE and the NASDAQ? Do we see 280E removal? Do we see, you know, do we see the MJ Act reviewal here in Canada? Do we see more countries legalize, right? Like the EU, right? Like there's the rest of the EU. So there's so many catalysts. We just don't know, right? That's why watching the charts, watching the fundamental technical analysis, fundamental analysis, all this stuff, no one knows, right? I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't tell you. But I could easily see Tilray back at around $50 a share in the next 5 years. I don't think that's completely out to lunch. We love you, Rod. Thank you very much. I love you guys too. I really do appreciate it. And like, it's kind of surprising that the trolls don't come in on these live streams. I think they probably know they get roasted because we actually have decent human beings in here. But yeah, anytime you see any of those trolls online, just ignore them. That's all I do. People just want someone to blame, even though you say in every video, not financial advice. I'm down too. I'm a retailer investor just like you. Someone today told me I'm an employee of Tilray, and I'm like, oh yeah, how did you know? I'm actually being promoted to CEO next week. Like, you know, do you feel vindicated now? Like, are you going to sleep better at night? Like, just hilarious. But yeah, I love each and every one of you guys. Going to end it there. You guys and girls. And yeah, we'll end it there. Thanks again for joining us on the live stream. Again, if you're viewing this after the fact, let me know what you think of these results. If there's anything that you didn't see or that I didn't cover that you saw that you want to go over, we can continue the conversation in the comments below. But thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth. We'll see you on the next video. Make sure to smash the like, share the video with anybody that might find value, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we shall see you on the next video. Take care. Have a great night.